Alright, strap in, because this one is not just another headline, this is a warning shot fired straight into the heart of Nigeria's insecurity crisis, and the message is loud, clear, and frankly, terrifying for anyone who has been playing both sides. They say every day is for the thief, but one day is for the owner. And for years in this country, it felt like the thieves were not just winning, they were thriving. Bandits growing bold, insurgents getting stronger, kidnappers moving like CEOs with logistics, supply chains, and protection. But now, that one day may have finally arrived, and it didn't come with polite letters or quiet negotiations. It came with fire, fury, and a public declaration that shook the entire nation. Because at the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day in Abuja, right there at the National Arcade, in front of the President, top military commanders, foreign diplomats, and cameras broadcasting across the country, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, stood up and basically told the sponsors of terror, your hiding days are over. No more coded language. No more political diplomacy. No more pretending that the problem is only the boys in the forest carrying guns. This time, the spotlight shifted to the people in air-conditioned offices, the ones in expensive Abuja, the ones moving money quietly, supplying fuel, food, weapons, information, and protection. And General Musa did not whisper it. He declared it. He said, and this is heavy, those who are still supporting bandits, criminals, insurgents, and terrorists should stop. Because as the saying goes, the friend of a thief is a thief. And if we meet you on the battlefield among them, whatever happens to them will happen to you. Let that sink in for a second. That is not just advice. That is not moral persuasion. That is a new rule of engagement. A legal, military, and operational shift that changes everything. What he just did was erase the gray area that many collaborators have been hiding under for years. No more, I was just delivering food. No more, I was just passing through. No more, I didn't know what they were doing. If you are found with them, you are treated as them. Period. And that statement alone tells us something very important. The government is no longer pretending they don't know who is helping these groups. You don't make a speech like that unless intelligence agencies already have names, networks, bank trails, phone records, and informants feeding them information. This doesn't sound like guessing. This sounds like preparation for action. And what makes this even more powerful is where and when it was said. Armed Forces Remembrance Day is usually a quiet, emotional ceremony. Wreath laying. Trumpets. Fallen heroes remembered. But this year, the mood shifted. The speech turned into a battlefield briefing. A signal flare to the military. And a nightmare announcement for anyone funding bloodshed from behind the scenes. Think about it. For years, Nigerians have been asking the same painful questions. How do bandits in the bush get brand new motorcycles every few months? How do insurgents in remote forests get sophisticated rifles and even anti-aircraft weapons? How do kidnappers feed dozens of hostages for weeks? Who is selling them fuel when even cities struggle to get petrol? Who is buying stolen cattle in bulk without asking questions? These things cost millions. These are not poor men in slippers pulling this off alone. They are financiers. They are logistic suppliers. They are informants. They are protectors. And sometimes, sadly, they are people living right inside our communities. General Musa basically dragged that uncomfortable truth into the open and said, we are done pretending. And this is why many powerful people are very uncomfortable right now. Because once you criminalize not just the gunman, but also the sponsor, the messenger, the supplier, and the financier, you are no longer fighting shadows. You are coming for real names, real accounts, and real properties. And make no mistake, this speech was not just emotional talk. It was strategic communication. It was a signal to security agencies, the gloves are off. And it was a warning to collaborators, clean up now or face the consequences later. But here's where things get even more serious. By declaring that anyone found among terrorists will be treated as a terrorist, the military now has stronger legal backing to neutralize logistics operatives on the spot. That means supply runners, informants, and field agents can no longer hide under civilian status once they cross into operational zones. This closes one of the biggest loopholes that has allowed terror networks to survive. And if you think about it, this is exactly how terror groups stay alive, not through guns alone, but through support systems. Food, fuel, medicine, money, information. Cut those off, and even the most violent fighters become desperate, divided, and exposed. So what we are really seeing here is not just a threat. It is a strategic shift toward dismantling the entire terror economy, not just the fighters. Now let me ask you honestly. We have heard about a list of sponsors before in this country. We have heard about investigations. We have heard about intelligence reports. But how many times have we actually seen big names arrested, prosecuted, and jailed? Exactly. So the big question on everyone's mind right now is this. Would this time be different? Would they actually name names, even if those names belong to politicians, businessmen, traditional rulers, or influential figures? Because that is where the real battle is. Fighting poor gunmen in the forest is easy compared to confronting wealthy sponsors with political connections. And that is why this speech matters so much. Because by saying it publicly, in front of the president and the entire military command, General Musa has tied the credibility of the government to this promise. Backtracking now would be politically disastrous. He also used the moment to remind Nigerians why the Armed Forces Remembrance Day is not just ceremony. It is about honoring soldiers who left home and never returned. Families who live with permanent grief. Children who grow up without parents because someone somewhere funded violence for profit or power. And he reassured the troops that the government is committed to their welfare and operational support. That message is important because morale wins wars. A soldier who knows the system is not protecting criminals will fight with more confidence and less fear. But he didn't stop there. He turned to ordinary Nigerians and made it clear that this fight is not for soldiers alone. Citizens must speak up. Communities must stop protecting criminals. Markets must stop buying stolen goods. Fuel sellers must stop supplying forest camps. Silence, he implied, is no longer neutral. Silence is now complicity. And that is a tough pill to swallow, because it means security is not just about checkpoints and patrols, it is about everyday choices. Who do you sell to? Who do you protect? Who do you keep quiet about? Because when terror networks collapse, it is usually because someone talked. Now let's talk about timing. January 2026. Public frustration is high. Insecurity fatigue is real. People want results, not speeches. This announcement is coming at a moment when the government knows excuses are no longer acceptable. And by issuing this warning now, they are preparing the public for what may come next: arrests, seizures, investigations, and possibly very uncomfortable court cases. If they follow through, we could be entering a phase where the war shifts from forest to bank accounts, from gun battles to asset forfeiture, from shootouts to courtrooms. And trust me, that is where terror networks really feel pain. Because you can replace fighters. But when money stops flowing, everything stops. So as we wrap this up, the message from Abuja is crystal clear. The battlefield has expanded. It is no longer just Sambisa, Zamfara Forest, or border communities. The battlefield is now financial trails, supply routes, and secret meetings. And anyone standing too close to the enemy is now officially part of the enemy. This could be the moment Nigeria finally confronts the real architect of insecurity, not just the pawns, but the players. Now over to you. Do you think this time they will really go after the big fish? Do you believe names will finally be published and prosecutions will happen? Or will this become another strong speech that fades away with time? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments, no filters, no fear. And if you want to stay ahead of every major security development, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because if arrests start happening, if names start dropping, if sponsors finally get exposed, you already know, we'll break it down for you fast, fully and fearlessly. If you support going after the real masterminds behind terrorism, smash that like button and let this video travel far and wide. Because the more people see this, the harder it becomes for anyone to quietly protect criminals in high places. This fight is changing. The rules are changing. And for the sponsors of terror, the clock may finally be ticking.